What's up, guys? We are back here with Week 10. Man, that hurts to say of the NFL season. We're officially into the double digits. As you obviously know, unless you've been sleeping under a rock this season, we do have that extra game, so it hurts a little bit less. It's just going to be Scotty today, no Ryan, but we're going to go through some picks. We're not going to mess around with any of the fluff. We're just going to get right in, do some picks, get out, and hopefully cash out this week. We'll also have our Hands Down DFS lineup still posted at Hands Down DFS on Twitter. Make sure you follow us there to make sure that you get in on the action on that. Okay, we're going to start off. We're going to do top play. We're going to do our value play and then our pivot play for each position. Starting off the quarterbacks, we're going to go with Tom Brady for our top play. Dude has been absolutely insane. He's been playing at an unreal level. He's been getting touchdowns like nobody's business, and he's 85 years old and he's still doing it. Unbelievable. Only at $7,600. You're not even having him as the most expensive guy. He's the third most expensive guy. Not going to break your bank. Going up against a Washington team that is garbage. They're not going to be running the ball, I don't think, too much against Washington. Really like Tom Brady in this spot, even with some depleted wide receivers. We'll get to that later. Value play for this week is going to be my man Trevor Lawrence, going up against the Indianapolis defense, who has looked better as of late. Definitely that defensive line has looked better, but the secondary is still banged up, still beat up. Last game, not very good against the Bills. That's okay. We'll take that. The Bills have a good defense, especially that passing defense with Tre'Davious White and those two ball hawk safeties back there in the back with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. You don't have that necessarily in Indianapolis. I do think Indianapolis wins this game. Last week, obviously, we saw a close game between the Bills and the Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars are able to move the ball a little bit better this week. We'll also get to a little bit later why I think Trevor Lawrence will have the ball a lot more in his hands this week than last week. So finally, the pivot play for this week, we're going to go with Mallet Finger Wilson. A lot of people have been staying away, at least per the projections, from Russell Wilson because we don't know what we're going to get out of him, right? We have the mallet finger. We don't know if they're going to run the ball more. It does look like we are not going to get Chris Carson for this game, so it looks like the running backs will still be a little bit thin. Even Alex Collins, I believe, was questionable all week. So I really like Russell Wilson in this spot against Green Bay. I think, you come in, it's a big game, and those two have always kind of been clashing during, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson's time. I also like Aaron Rodgers coming off of the COVID list to also kind of be a little bit of a pivot play, as people might be a little bit lower on him due to, not knowing especially what you're getting there as well. So Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are two pivot plays that I do like because they're both proven quarterbacks. They're just coming off of a little bit of a funky situation. So we don't know what we're necessarily getting out of these two. So some people are just, staying away. But I think it's a good spot to take advantage of. Those are the quarterbacks. Going into the running backs, we're going to say our top guy is DALVIN Cook, and I'm not even going to flinch on that. That is unbelievable that he is I believe, the fourth highest running back, cost-wise. Obviously Kamara is out, so you are going to be looking at the third most available. The way that the Chargers play defense is they dare you to run the ball, and Mike Zimmer and company is more than welcome or more than happy to run the ball to feed DALVIN Cook. You see against Carolina, he had 29 rushing attempts. Arizona 22, Cincinnati 20. The last two games, 18 and 17. Cleveland, obviously a rough game, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure, I think he got banged up on that week or something like that. But regardless, I do like the game this week for the Chargers as they do give up, as you see here, the 24th most points to running backs. So I really like DALVIN Cook this week. I think he's in a great spot. Najee Harris right below him, also in a great spot. But we're going to go with DALVIN Cook because I'm going to go with a lot of Steeler guys in the rest of the way. Couldn't load up too much. Next, we're going to go with our value play. This isn't going to make anybody surprised. We're going to go with D'Ernest Johnson because we have Nick Chubb, who is going to be out of this game this week. And we also have Kareem Hunt on the IR. So really shouldn't be too much competition in the backfield for him. You still, the Browns still love to run the ball. We have seen a full game out of D'Ernest Johnson, and he had 146 yards and a touchdown. So really like what we see out of him so far. Don't see any reason why to not, throw him onto your lineup this week. The only thing that I'd be worried about is it looks like the entire room has COVID. So I don't know if he's just been hanging out with somebody else. But if he does get COVID late, then obviously that stinks. And I don't even know who I don't even know if Stanton or Janovich, I don't even know who would it be. Maybe you stay away because I think those are two fullbacks. So But yeah, so I mean, as long as Ernest stays healthy, I think he's a lock for your lineups, and I mean that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Another one I'm gonna go with this as my pivot. I don't even think it's really that much of a pivot, but I had to talk about him. Is Mark Ingram with Kamara out? Titans haven't been very good against the run. The defensive line is looking a little bit better. I will have to say that, but more so in pass rush. So I don't think you're going to be able to see Trevor Siemian in the backfield there, being able to sit and just kind of go through the progressions and stuff like that and hit the deep bombs that I know that the Saints like to take with Traquan Smith and some of their other wide receivers. So I do like Mark Ingram in this game. I think he's going to be getting a lot of carries. He's talked about all week how he's ready for the full workload now that Kamara's out, and it's kind of his chance to prove that he's still got a little bit left in the tank. So again, those are the running backs. We got Cook, Ernest Johnson, Ingram. Don't think there's any surprises there, but all solid plays. Wide receivers, we're going to go with, for our top play, we're going to go with A.J. Brown, again, against the New Orleans Saints. Really like what we've seen out of him, especially, last game we only had 9 points, but before that, the last 2 games against a little bit of weaker secondaries that we know we're probably going to see a little bit more of as far as, giving up yards like the Saints do. Not to the level that the Colts and the Chiefs do, but I do like to see a lot more passing out of this game because, the Saints are really, really good against the run, and they also don't have Derrick Henry, which is a big blow. So I think they're going to have to lean on the passing game a lot more this week, that being A.J. Brown. And I really like what we're going to see out of him. We do have Julio Jones, who is questionable at 5,400. If he is able, it actually looks, no, that's A.J. Brown, who doesn't carry it down. Yep, he's officially questionable. So obviously, if Julio Jones does play, maybe you go with him instead because you can get a $2,000 discount. But if Julio Jones is a no-go, we're going to look at A.J. Brown as our top play. Okay, and then our second top play, because we're going to do 2, because you have 3 wide receivers, we are going to do DIONTAE Johnson. Steeler homer pick, but I think it's a really good pick because if you look at the Steelers wide receiver room, very banged up. We have no Juju Smith-Schuster, obviously. Chase Claypool is out for this game. So we are going to see a steady diet of DIONTAE Johnson and a couple other pass-catching options that I'm going to be throwing out there as kind of some more pivot plays or more value plays. So I do like DIONTAE Johnson, though, against Detroit. They don't have a number 1 shutdown wide receiver. It's not like they're just going to take away DIONTAE Johnson. If anything, they're going to try to take away Najee Harris, I believe. And so I do like DIONTAE Johnson to have a big game in this one. Value plays, we're going to go first over to the Tampa Bay because if you look at their wide receiver room, you also see a lot of out. You see Scotty Miller's out. You see Godwin is questionable. You see Antonio Brown is out. So that's where we're going to go to Tyler Johnson. He had a big game last week, 6 catches. He was able to get that long for 31 against the New Orleans Saints secondary, who we were talking about. Is not necessarily as good, but Washington isn't very good either. And if we're going to stack Tom Brady with Tyler Johnson, I think that's a very good play there. So that you can kind of even out with Tom Brady being one of the top more expensive quarterbacks. You can pair him with Tyler Johnson, get that stack in, still get a lot of points there, and still make out with enough room to throw in a Cook, or even if you're going to do it to Ernest Johnson and an Ingram, that you can pay out for some of the wide receivers. It is strange. This is a week where I don't necessarily love a lot of the pay up spots. Maybe we go Devontae Adams against the Seattle secondary. That's not very good, but it's just. It is more a little bit strange that the pay-up spots aren't necessarily as good as we would hope, but there are a lot of value plays. Another value play that we do like, speaking of, is going to be there over here. That Pittsburgh room being out, we have seen that James Washington does get a lot of love sometimes from Ben when the wide receiver room is depleted and we're only at 3,500. There's a lot of trust there. They've been playing together for, I believe, 3 or 4 years now. So it does look like we are going to be able to see some more James Washington as the wide receiver 2 for this team with Claypool and Schuster out. So it's going to be a lot of DIONTAE Johnson, but it also is going to be a lot of James Washington at 3,500, who should be a very solid value play. For the pivot play, we're just going to do one, and we're going to go with Scary Terry because, again, a lot of injuries. We have no Curtis Samuel still. We are seeing a lot of targets. Could be a Tyler Heineke revenge game, and so we are going to go with Terry McLaurin, and we're going to put him at 7,600, which is pretty high if we are going to pay up for somebody. Tampa Bay doesn't have that number 1 lockdown cornerback. They aren't very good against wide receivers. They do give up a lot of yards. There should be a positive game script for him. There's a lot of reasons to like Terry McLaurin in this one. Taylor Heineke is, just want to make sure to say his name right, because I did say Tyler. Yep, Taylor. I was wrong. My bad. We'll move on. Okay, and finally we have tight end before we move into the defenses. Top play is going to be Dawson Knox, coming off of the injury that he hasn't played in 4 weeks, but I do like him against the Jets. Obviously, before he did go out with that injury, he was a big part of the passing game. Did take a slight price decrease from where he was pre-injury. Do like him to get right back into the offense and move in, because I don't think Tyler Sweeney did a whole lot while he was gone. So not a lot of competition there. Second, our value play is going to be Tyler Conklin. This is a tribute pick for Ryan. Every time that Ryan is on the show, he likes Tyler Conklin. I don't necessarily see it, but Ryan, you're out there. We're listening. We love you. Get better. You're not sick. You're just not able to record today. But Tyler Conklin. Okay, and then finally, our pivot play is going to be Pat Freiermuth. This is my pick, homer pick. Has obviously been a red zone monster. Also getting targets. Gotta love it. 7-7-6 going up against Detroit. Not very good, obviously. But I do think this game, unfortunately, is going to be closer than it should be, because the game against the Bears was closer than it should be. I mean, if you look at these scores for the Steelers, 29-27, 15-10, 23-20. Man, I have a heart attack every single week. It's terrible. I don't even know how I'm still alive. And so I think it's going to be a close game, and we are going to be able to be in a pass-heavy script where both teams is going to be trying to move the ball late into the second half. Unfortunately, against the Lions, shouldn't be that way, but it probably will be. Pat Freiermuth, 3,900, pretty solid play. And then finally, defense, we're going to go with our top play is going to be Arizona. They are going up against P.J. Walker at quarterback. I have no fear about P.J. Walker. He does not scare me in the least. He has the rushing upside, but I also think he's more turnover prone. And so this Cardinal defense has been much improved. Isaiah Simmons has definitely moved into, exactly what we thought he was going to be out of Clemson. Really strong player, really strong team. Defense, like them at their 3,700 price. And then the value play is going to be Jacksonville Jaguars. Last week, they were able to hold the Bills to 9 points, or to 6 points. Jaguars are obviously not a very good defense historically, but last week they had a very solid game. I think, we have to see, did they figure something out, or is it kind of just a one and done? I do like them to be able to, turn Carson Wentz over a little bit, just because, as we know, he's not necessarily been the most secure with the ball. So those are the picks. Those are what we're going to be looking at as far as, making our lineup. We will have our lineup. I'm going to hold off on doing that until we get confirmation from Ryan as far as what that lineup is going to look like. So feel free to follow us at HandsDownDFS to see what that final lineup looks like. Again, those are the picks. Hope you enjoyed the content. We'll have some more stuff out now that, we're in Florida now. We have sports betting here as far as, the lines. We'll do some more of that stuff. If that is something that you guys are interested, let us know, and we will look more into that as far as another side of sports betting. So thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. You guys know the drill. See ya.